The Four Knights of the Apocalypse. Chapter 157, Lives That Attract. We begin by seeing the concentrated magician this reciting a spell that opens the gate to the eternal kingdom. As soon as it is open, she tells us that she has to be careful, and that she will close the gate as soon as Percival and the others pass through it, so as not to attract attention from the other side and prevent Camelot from seeing it. And she also explains that they know much less about the eternal kingdom than they thought, especially about the four dangers. So Percival and his friends must follow everything that has been passed on to them to the letter. With everything settled, Percival tells Anne, Donnie, and Nations that it's time to leave. And off they go to the Eternal Realm, and after the gate closes, Hauser and Gilthunder ask His Highness if it's safe to send those young people alone. But Meliodas replies that if this same question had been asked 2 years ago, his answer would have been quite different, but that now, to his own surprise and happiness, he trusts that boy completely. And faced with the weight of responsibility and determination that those children had, Gil and Hauser, as two veterans, emotional survivors of the Holy War, were proud, for without a doubt these youngsters represented the true legacy of the ancient heroes. Just like Meliodas, who chose to believe in Percival, and all the others who also believed in him. And now inside the Eternal Kingdom, we can see Percival hugging Nations and Anne to protect them, while Donnie desperately tries to find a little space to hold on to Percival. For the four of them were standing on a piece of land in the middle of countless vortices. The so-called hulls of chaos, each of which was like a corridor that connected randomly to an infinity of fragments, some of which were the size of entire kingdoms. But before choosing one, Anne says that unfortunately, they lost contact with Gawain, Tristan, and the members of their team some time ago. And if the goal is to find them all, she can't gauge how long that might take in this scenario. However, Percival says he understands and that he already knows where they should go. He then asks Anne to hold him tightly and for Nations to follow. Percival then flies upwards at high speed, while holding the poor Donnie by the arm. The boy was heading towards one of the chaos holes at the edge of the upper part of that space, and Percival chose this hole because according to him, he can feel it, because being a spirit of life, he is connected to all his other siblings who are always everywhere there is life. And Donnie now understands how he knew what happened to Gowther and Beltrape, but Percival replies that it's not that simple, that it's only a summary, but that he's sure there's someone out there beyond the hole. And they finally enter the hole of chaos. And after a few seconds, they make it through. However, their arrival on the other side was very dangerous as they hit the ground, where they ended up falling very close to an apple tree, even dropping a few apples on the ground. However, they also came across a strange man pointing a weapon at them, literally a farm sickle. Percival, not understanding anything, asked who the man was. But the man demands that they answer first who they are and why they have invaded his orchard. Nations is apparently surprised that there is an apple tree in the Eternal Kingdom, as is Percival, who holds one of the apples looking at it in a very peculiar way. While Anne in turn tries to apologize by saying that it wasn't their intention to land right in the middle of her orchard, that old man says he doesn't care since those fruits are all deformed, and although it's just a hobby for him, he admits he's not that good at it. But Percival doesn't seem to care, and when Anne realizes his intention, she immediately asks him not to eat the fruit. But Percival doesn't follow her advice and sends the apple inside, while the old man watched without saying a word. After eating a piece of that apple, Percival said that it tasted good, that the spirit inside was nice and alive too. And for that man, Percival was a very strange child, so he asked him what his name was. However, Anne asked him not to answer, because within the Eternal Kingdom, not only the Knights of Chaos they have to watch out for, but also the devotees of King Arthur. So if they are discovered, they will be in big trouble. But Percival for some reason doesn't follow this advice either, and reveals that his name is Percival and that they all come from Britannia. And this irresponsible act arouses the fury of Anne and Donnie, who reprimand Percival for it. But it's too late. The man recognizes Percival, saying, "Percival, one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, one of those who threatened to destroy the eternal kingdom." Faced with this scenario, the three of them stand in front of Percival to protect him. Nations holds up his gift from the king, saying he has no choice but to use it, while Anne holds her sword ready to attack, and Donnie also takes an offensive stance. However, going against the stance of his companions, Percival, for his part, just smiles, showing that he is totally calm in front of that man. In response, the man turned and asked them to follow him. And apparently the destination was a small house, and the whole place was situated on top of a huge ship. As they followed the man without knowing exactly where they were going, Donnie whispered that he believed it was a trap, but Percival, who was just ahead, asked the man again what his name was. "I am Kay Pendragon. I am the son of King Uther, the previous king of Camelot, and the adopted brother of the current king." After hearing this, everyone was surprised, as they were facing possibly one of the most important figures in Camelot. Finally, the man stands in front of a door and knocks, saying, "Open the door, it's me." Apprehensive Donnie, Nations, and Anne began to wonder if this was how he treated King Arthur. But soon they heard a voice very different from what they had imagined, saying, "Father, please wait a moment, I'll be there in 5 seconds." But as the person on the other side slowly opens the door, he just says, "Okay, I'm here. So what do you want now?" And his father replies, "I've brought some guests." Gawain appears 2 years later, with a type of behavior never seen before, and asks a question, "Who are your guests?" What did that mean? Why was Gawain acting this way, completely different from the Gawain of 2 years ago? Continued in the next chapter, entitled Unable to Be Honest.